Welcome, children of God, to my channel, Lady of Victory Ministries. My name is Laura. Welcome to the family if you're new, and welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. It's so great to have you here. As you know, I've been releasing a series of testimonies that align with the events that took place after my trauma of my mother dying and my dad abandoning me all at the same time. That happened in April of 2011. So the last word I released was the worst dude I ever dated in my life, a narcissist story. That one was prefaced to this, but I do want to encourage you to watch my testimonies leading up to this one, so that way you are caught up to speed and everything flows in a timely manner. You know, everything is not all jumbled up. Everything is like a book, reads like a book. So funny enough, I should write a book over all this stuff, but this testimony is going to be a fun one because this one's going to be about Laura and her not so wise choices in the bar going days. So I do want to say the last couple testimonies I released, the suicide spirit that had come over me and the worst dude I ever dated. I was an active bar goer. I went out drinking and partying with my friends a lot. So I do want to add that, in there, that this going out and drinking started in 2011. So I know the last testimony was a broad one. It was from 2011 to 2014. Well, I want to go back to 2011 here, okay? But this extends from 2011 up until 2016. So roughly 5 years before I got pregnant, I was very actively in the bar scene. So, your girl Laura was a twerker. Not even a joke, okay? So me and my girlfriends, and I do want to include, when I say my girlfriends, there was also one guy in this friend group that was in attendance of all this. One guy and all my girlfriends. So when I say the girlfriends, he's included, okay? He's included. So it was not uncommon that we'd all go out to the bar. It was like, a lot of us worked at that fine jewelry store together. So what we would do is we would work till 9, and we close. Once we got out of there about 9:30, I could always remember just touching up our makeup before we left, and we'd go out and hit it up, go straight to the bar. And there was in my hometown, I don't want to reveal from where I lived, but there was, they called it it was like a bar yard kind of thing, because there was 3 bars and they all had a shared brick area behind them. So there was 3 bars, so you could walk, and that was a common thing to do. There was the classier bar, the one where people would go and sip martinis, and a lot people would business meetings, I guess, could have been attended there and things. So people, sip their fancy drinks there that were super expensive. And then you go to the next place, and I guess I could tell you this one because it's not called this anymore. Karma, the dance club, where you go and get your on, because in 2011, EDM was popping. So you had a lot of EDM over there, and then I don't think it was built yet, but they were talking about it. Then there was a brewery ended up being open behind that. So you had your classy place, you had your club, and then the brewery that they made the stuff there on site ended up being opened later on down the line. That one I think might have been 2012, but still during the same time frame though. Okay, so yeah, we would always start at the one place with the fancy drinks because they had a signature drink. So we wouldn't get trashed there because it's a classy joint. But you would take a couple shots there, and then you get their signature drink, and then you move on to get your on. So when I say that I was a twerker, I was that girl that was twerking on the walls. Okay, so I am blessed with curves. I'm very blessed with curves, and I know how to shake them and move them, okay? So, but nobody gets to see that now until my husband, okay? Sorry, Charlie. Now that I am operating in, the fruits of the spirit, not like I was back then. Nobody gets to see this anymore until my husband does, okay? But yeah, I was I was that girl that would be twerking on the walls, but me and my best friend at the time were twerkers. She occasionally would, it wouldn't be uncommon to see her dancing on a table, but I was too scared to dance on a table because then everybody could see me. But I was not that. I didn't go Coyote Ugly, but I definitely twerked on the walls, and literally all my girlfriends would like form a semicircle around me to keep the weirdos away, the perverts away. At least they protected me, right? Like, at least they protected me from the wackos. You know, like, what? I wouldn't, I was not one to like want to dance with guys either. Occasionally, if it was a guy I knew and I knew he wasn't going to be skeezy, I would dance with him, but like I danced with my girls, right? And then the one guy. I have a funny story about him. I have a funny story about him, but yeah, he was my best friend. He was my best friend. I had, my best girlfriend and my best guy friend, and we're still friends to this day. But yeah, so we don't have that life anymore. It was not uncommon for me to be just like plowing down shots. I became a cigarette smoker during this time because my girlfriend smoked, and then like the club Karma had a patio out back. It's a dive bar now. They turned it into a dive bar with like pool tables and darts and stuff. But at first it was Karma, the dance club, because it was only like rap and EDM, like dance music. And then it would be funny because my best girlfriend was like the rap dancing, and she's like, how do you dance to EDM? And I'm like, oh, let me show ya. Because I love EDM, even still to this day. And I'd be the only one out there dancing to EDM. I didn't care. No, there was a few others, but they would just like stand and watch me in amazement, like, how do you dance to this? But yeah, we'd go out on the patio and smoke cigarettes, after I had been introduced to weed in 2012, after the grape happened, I began a regular weed smoker. But like I said in that last word where I was graped, I didn't like to smoke weed and drink at the same time because I would become a potato. I would literally just be like, no fun anymore. I'd find a chair and I'd couch it. Like I wasn't fun anymore because I was a fun drunk. I was. You have your angry drunks and your fun drunks, and then you have the people who talk too much, or you have your different variations of drunkards, right? Well, I was the fun drunkard. I was everybody's best friend. Like literally, I'd be that girl. Like I'm not even going to lie. I'd walk into that bar and they'd all be like, Laura, and I would have no idea who you are. That happened on more than one occasion. And, I eventually got to know them, but I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't know you. But yeah, I was a regular. That's not good when you can walk into your bar and everybody shouts, Laura. Yeah, that's how often I was going. It was literally like every Friday and Saturday. I would follow, I would drive home drunk all the time. Or if I rode with my best friend, who was also my boss. This is the one who put me in the bad situation of the grape. Okay? On many occasions, she would drive, and I would go home with her and crash on her couch, kind of thing. Not good friends. Not good friends. But in the time, I was living my life, right? I was having the best time of my life until I went home. And real life was right there on my doorstep. So I want to throw that in. Oh yeah, I'm having the best time of my life at the bar right now. But all my life problems were still there the second I left that place. I was still depressed. I was still suicidal. And I did forget to mention in my suicide testimony the song that was on repeat for 5-6 years of my life. I literally would lay on the floor and just stare at the ceiling, listening to Alice in Chains' Nutshell on repeat. Nowhere to run to, no place to call home. And then there's another line. If I can't be my own, I'd feel better dead. Yeah. It's literally a song you would listen to before you off yourself. It's so depressing. And then I also listened to Adam's song by Blink-182 a lot too. That's also a suicidal song. So I did forget to mention that in my suicidal testimony, that I had these songs on repeat for 5-6 years. When I'd get in my woe is me, my life is terrible. Yeah. I just lay on the floor, stare at the ceiling, listening to those songs. So the drinking and the weed was a way to numb my pain. I believed at the time that I was having the best time of my life. I believed I was having the best time of my life. But looking back on it, that is such a sad life. Such a sad life. Worst time of my life. Worst time of my life. Those people weren't friends. Those people weren't friends. Not at all. The only reason why the guy friend is still my friend is because we've both changed. We're both not living that life anymore. He's not out there anymore. You know. And there's another reason too. I might surprise you all at the end of this word with why we're still friends. Stay tuned. But yeah, so it wasn't really uncommon for me to just go buck wild at the bars. With those 3 bars that were connected, you know, you had that brick area back there in the alleys, so you could walk to and fro. It was fun, worldly, fleshly fun. Yeah. And then after, you know, I still was going out. When Karma turned into what it is now, it's a dive bar. I'm not going to say the name so people don't know where I used to live. But I live in the Midwest of the USA, if you're out of the country watching this. Still would regularly attend and go there. Then it turned into, you know, a dive bar with the pool and the darts, but I was still a regular. I would say, so yeah, I did have a serious relationship during these times. Like I even celebrated my 25th birthday at these bars. I turned 25 when I was with Alex, the worst guy I ever dated. I turned 25 and my birthday was at that area, the trifecta of bars. That's what we did. We just all went out and we partied. That was 11 years ago. Wild. That just seems like yesterday. And then, so I'm trying to give a timeline of when it changed into a dive bar, but I guess it just doesn't really matter. But during this time it does, and that's, yeah, when me and my best guy friend, you know, we've been best friends for years and years and years. Like, he even moved away and he came back during this time, you know, just things like that. He went away and he came back. He got married, divorced, came back, you know, like that kind of thing. And we just picked up where we left off. But when he came back, you know, it was a dive bar, and we became even closer. And we were really homies at that point, like real homies. Because like my one best girlfriend, she did have a kid. She got engaged. So when she had the baby, she wasn't going out as regularly, but all the other girlfriends were. The one other best friend that was the newer, like in my one word with the grapist story, I said there was a new best friend that got introduced to the friend group. She came along. Like, and I have a picture of her and me. I can't wait to create like an Instagram reel of all these pictures of me at the bar, because you're going to be like, holy moly. She's lost it. There's a picture of me and her laying on the bar floor, snuggling. Like, we just thought we were so cool. Like, because, you know, everybody knows us and everybody wants to be us, and we are snuggling on that dirty, nasty bar floor. There's a picture of me out on the back patio smoking a cigarette with this other dude. He was a bartender there, but I think he was on break. He's sitting there with me, and I'm just smoking, and I'm clearly like, out of it. There's another picture of a friend group, like a big, huge group photo, but my face is like really up and close, and I have a cigarette sticking out of my mouth. It's so, So cringe. This is the life that I used to live, though. This is the life I used to live. And the worst thing that I did, I'll never forget this day. I made my sister cry. So, like I told you guys, I was a weed smoker. So there was this guy that I knew. So he was a friend of a friend of a friend. So I knew him, but I didn't hang out with him. So I didn't know him like that. But he had some stuff. And he wanted me to partake. So I go out in his car and I partake in cocaine. I did. So when I said I did party drugs, I did a line right there on a CD in his car. And I remember coming back to the bar and telling my sister, like, they thought I just went out to either smoke. I think they assumed I went to smoke weed because when you go and smoke cigarettes, you go out to the back patio. But I went out the front door. So I think they thought I went in somebody's car to smoke weed. Well, yeah, I went in somebody's car to do cocaine. I did a line right there in his car. And I remember I came back in and it was my sister and my best guy friend. And I was like, you guys will never guess what I just did. You'll never guess what I just did. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did this. And they're like, what? And, I remember my best guy friend thought, he was like, well, I just assumed you went out there and smoked weed. And I was like, no, I just did a line of cocaine. And my sister started bawling. She started bawling. She was like, oh my gosh, you're ruining your life. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, I feel really, really bad about that. Not only was I ruining my own life, but I traumatized her for a second. Like, oh, I'm doing drugs. I'm doing real drugs now. Not just weed. I'm doing real drugs. Say what you want about gateway, weed being a gateway. Every single person I know who's ever done weed has done something else. Fact check me on that, okay? So say what you want about weed not being a gateway drug. But yeah, I definitely did that. And then there was one other time during this time, it was a different friend group. We went to a festival. It was like an indie rock music festival in our closest metro city. And I did cocaine again. So I've only done it twice in my life, but still twice is enough. So yeah, I did it again. The guy that provided it at that place, I trusted a lot more than the sketchy guy at the bar, because I knew this guy, and he's a nice guy. He's like an actual nice guy, but he still had that. And there, I did a key bump. So I did a line in the car with the sketchy dude. I still knew him though. He was a friend of a friend of a friend, but then an actual guy friend of mine provided it at this indie rock festival where I did a key bump and we all did it together in the car. That was my life, man. That was my life. So I'm trying to think if I left anything out. I just want to let you also know, still a serial monogamous through all this. Dated Alex until we broke up. And then there was another guy that I dated. He moved in. We broke up. Got on Tinder, met a guy from... So I'm I don't know. I met a guy on Tinder an hour and a half away. We started dating. And he was a bar goer too. So when I would go, I would stay the weekends with him. So I would go out to the bars with him. Or he'd come down and stay with me, and he'd go out with me and all my friends out to the bars. I was going to move there for him. We had a fight the weekend that I was supposed to move there, and that was only God. That was the Holy Spirit. We had the fight of fights that broke us up the week I was moving. I had transferred my job and everything because there was another location for my jewelry store job where he lived. So the transfer was already being taken place. I was already packing, I was moving that week, and we broke up. It took me a long time to get over him because I really, really liked him. Until I met Morgan. That's not his real name. I'm making up a name. Morgan. He was a regular bar goer. And boy, I wasn't in a relationship. But more or less I was, because I was seeing no one else for a long time. Because he was my man. There was no title in the relationship, but it was like we wouldn't go to the bars together. I would show up and he would show up, but it was like known among everybody that we were an item. We were a thing. I would always leave with him and stay with him. He would cook me dinner. He would cook me breakfast. So we were like, there was no title on it, but we were a thing. But we weren't. Because he couldn't, he was a commitment phobe type. He was burned really badly by his ex, so he wasn't ready. But boy, did I probably loved him, or maybe it was just infatuation, but that was guy number 2. That was guy number 1 that imitated the long-haired, tattooed, thick-rimmed guy. Morgan imitated him, so he was the first clone of that guy. And yeah, so I really, really liked him. So for all intents and purposes, we were together for a very long time because I was obsessed, to put it lightly. And he got me to get over him. And that doesn't work out. And then I remained single for about, I mean, when I was with him, I was still, for all intents and purposes, single. But then my best friend came along. My best guy friend confessed his love to me. I'm sorry if you're watching, dude. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say any of this stuff, but it's part of the story, man. It's part of the story. It's part of the story. So, he confesses his love to me. He was like, we had that relationship where, like, even if my girlfriends weren't going out, him and I still would. So, all he had to do was text me, bro. And I'd just text back, like, what time or where. Because I knew as soon as he texted me, bro, he meant, like, he was going out to the bar. He lived 30 minutes away from the bar. But he was still a regular. I lived downtown. I could literally walk to the bar. I didn't. I still chose to drive. Actually, no, I didn't live downtown yet. He helped me move downtown, though. He helped me move. But anyway, I'll get to there. And we just had that relationship, bro, we were broing out. Like, I don't know if anybody ever watched How I Met Your Mother. I know it's a worldly show, it's a secular show. There's a lot of things that Christians should not watch, but I have watched it. I don't condone you watching it, please, if you've never watched it. But there is, if you have, then you know who I'm talking about. We were Barney and Robin. We were bros. He was Barney and I was his wingman, who ended up getting together. So, he literally kind of idolized Barney Stinson from the show too. He had his plays on women and I'd be his wingman helping him get women. Like, that was just like our thing until it worked on me. But it didn't work on me at first. He confessed his love to me. I ran away from him crying. He asked, how do you view me? And I said, like a brother, as I'm crying. And I remember he came to my car, knocked on my window as I'm bawling, and he's like, let's just go back in. I promise I'll never bring it up again. So we went back in and we pretended like that never happened for a couple of days. The next time we go back out to the bar, he's all at it again. And so I remember I talked to my girlfriends about it, and they were like, well, this is perfect. They're bad influence. My girlfriends were bad influences. They were not friends. They were like, well, this is meant to be. You are best friends, and the best relationships come out of being friends first. So we gave it a shot. I would say we didn't put a title on it, but we were dating. We were courting. I didn't call him my boyfriend. I don't think he called me his girlfriend, but we were having relations. And, I kind of told my friends, well, yeah, I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So to paint a picture of him, not my type either. He's tall, but he's like blonde hair, blue eyed, country boy, lives in the sticks, likes country music. We literally have nothing in common except for the fact that we both go to the bar together. And he actually worked with me at the jewelry store for a hot second. He did work there. He did work there I think I got him the job. Like I recruited him, I believe. The guys I always dated long term never liked him. Like the ex-fiance, Brian, and then the worst dude I ever dated, Alex, both hated his guts. They did not like that I had him as a best friend because they thought I was going to, like, they thought he had an ulterior motive. For one, they thought that he was in love with me. Turns out they were right. I didn't see it though. I was naive. I'm like, he's just my best friend. And then Alex would always say that I was cheating on with him. And I would be like, if something would have happened, it would have happened by now. So if anybody ever tells you that, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. If somebody that you are dating has a friend of the opposite sex that they seem a little too close, listen to your gut. That's the Holy Spirit, okay? Because he was right. Even though nothing had happened yet with him, I didn't see his true intentions and how he viewed me, how he thought of me. I literally thought we were just bros. So we try to be a thing. We have relations, if you know what I'm saying, for the first time, and I get pregnant. He is my son's father. Surprise! Known the dude since 2008. We had probably been best friends since 2010. Because we met in the mall, because we both worked in the mall when I worked at Macy's, and then I got him a job, got him to switch jobs and work at the jewelry store. I can't remember if the jewelry store was before or after his wife. I honestly can't remember because he did get married and divorced. It was one of those really short marriages. They were not together very long. Moved to a different metro city on the opposite side of our state. But yeah. So he ended up becoming my son's father. And I'm just like releasing out this story, but we had our downs. Our downs. And if you're watching, I'm not going to release that on here. That's nobody's business. Unless you allow me to. Part of my testimony, but this is about the bar going days, okay? So I'll never forget, like, we went to this, it's kind of like a Waffle House, but it was like a local one, really dirty, dingy, but it was like a Waffle House type style. And I'll never forget, like, him and I are eating, and I'm just like, it's so hot in here. Oh my gosh, it's like 90 degrees. Like, aren't you hot? And I remember I barely have anything on. I have a sundress on with spaghetti straps, and I'm just like sweating. And he's like, Laura, I think you think it's a lot hotter than it really is. And he said that was the moment that he knew I was pregnant. But he didn't want to say anything. So basically, he continues to go out to the bar, but I'm sick. I'm throwing up constantly. I'm not wanting to go anywhere. I literally don't want to do anything. I'm barfing my guts out. But him and my sister started hanging out with us at this, before this. She started being a regular at the bar. She didn't have the lifespan that I did, though. She wasn't a 6-year regular like I was. But towards the tail end, she started to join in. I think she was single is why. I think she was single. Like, she had a really, really long-term relationship of like 6 years or something like that. And when that had ended, she had started going out with us. But yeah, her and my baby daddy are still going out together, and while I'm staying home. And I decided to take a pregnancy test, and I will never forget telling him. He came to my apartment and he sat on the bed and told him I'm pregnant, and he's not looking at me. He's kind of like leaning over the bed like this, He's like, I had a feeling you were. I had a feeling. And he didn't tell me that day, but like eventually he told me that it was when I stopped going to the bars, had no desire of drinking, and was complaining about being super, super hot. I should add this. I'm just going to add. The day we got pregnant, or the day we did it, was I was moving out. So I had a roommate Me and my roommate, it was a girl, we shared a house. It was like one of those duplexes. We were on one half, we lived together. And I was moving out of that. There was all sorts of things going on. Like, it was just unpleasant. I only lived with her for a year, but it was a whole lots of stuff going on. Lots of unpleasantness going on. Like, real drug use going on. Things that I would never even touch with, like, a 10-foot pole type of drugs going on. You know what I'm saying? I had to get out of there. There was lying. There was stealing. So my baby daddy helps me move out. I get a place in a loft downtown. How fun. How New York of me. It was literally like my dream at the time, because I used to always dream of living in New York City, being a boss babe. Thank the Holy Spirit that's not my dream anymore. But it was New York-esque, living in a loft on the second floor, businesses below me kind of thing. Downtown, I could literally walk to my bars. It was the life. So he helps me move in. Just me and him, and nobody else. There's no elevator either, so him and I are literally we're pushing the washer and dryers like up the stairs, like if you can imagine that, taking the flight of stairs, just two of us. And we had like a kind of like a welcoming party, like real quick that night. Like, some of our other friends came over and we drank at the apartment. I don't believe we went to the bar that night. I think some people might have left and went to the bar. But a few, well, before that, though, we're all hanging out and we're just getting drunk at the apartment. But when they all leave, regardless of where they went, he stayed. And that's when my son was conceived that night. Yes. So this was 2016. 2016. I honestly, I don't even remember when I moved into that apartment. I can't tell you a month, but I just do know it was 2016. Because I had my son in 2017. Yeah. But him and I have had our roller coaster of a relationship. But I want to say that right now, he is the best dad that my son could ever have. He literally, he's amazing. And if you're watching, great co-parenting, dude. Like, we are great co-parents. We go to everything together. Like, his family, like, calls me their daughter. I go to their house, like, we, like, alternate year, like, last year I went to their house for Christmas. This year they came over for Christmas Eve. Like, his family is my second family. I'm not talking to my dad right now. His dad's my dad. Like, me and him have a great relationship now. We're back to the old best friend days of raising a child together. But now we just have some fun stories to tell our son eventually later down the road when he's a grown up. Not when he's a kid. But yeah, so there's a lot more to him and I, but I don't feel led to insert that here. But yeah, that was my crazy bar going days, dancing, twerking on the walls, lots of interests of dudes. I was, a serial monogamist or a serial infatuation of a guy, hoping that he would just see me. Weed, cigarettes. Shots. And when I tell you I drank, I wasn't a girly drinker. I did shots of whiskey, shots of turkey, wild turkey. The only girly drink I drank was at the fancy bar when we would stop there first. That was my girly drink time. And then when we go to Karma or I would drink beer too, like in between. I would drink beer, but like I was definitely shots girl. And Long Island iced teas, sex on the beach, like hard stuff. I loved Jameson. I loved Wild Turkey. There was another one. I started out, I guess, with whiskey. Like, I started out with Fireball and worked up my way up to bourbon. Ugh. Makes my belly hurt thinking about it. Still vodka and rum. I loved rum. But I never liked tequila. Tequila, literally. I know people have different reactions to it. I will literally, like, vomit like that. I should throw this, because it's relevant. I had a superpower. People would call it my drinking superpower. I would I would puke and rally is what they call my superpower. I would puke and rally. It would be not uncommon that I would puke my guts out somewhere, anywhere. One time I projectile vomited on the stairs that the people had to, because this bar was on the second floor, so people had to climb up take the stairs to get there if they were taking the back way. There was vomit running down it. Me. There was a time where there was a karaoke bar that we would all go to a lot of times. I forgot about this place, a karaoke bar. They threatened to kick me out permanently because I would always puke there. I did get kicked out of a wedding because I puked at that wedding. I guess it was all over the bathroom. I didn't make it to the stall. That my friend that was a bride, she said she wasn't mad. I don't know if she really was or not, but she's like, no, that's a story to tell. I'm not mad at you. But I'm like, I literally got kicked out of your wedding. Like, people kicked me out. Like, I don't know who did. I don't remember. I just remember being in a bush outside. I just remember being in a bush. I was a hot mess, people. I was a hot mess. But let me tell you what the root was. Depression. I would go home and cry. The spirit of suicide had taken stronghold over my life. I didn't off myself, but I might as well did. With all the drinking and the weed and the cocaine, the partying, the dancing, that lifestyle, that disgusting lifestyle. And it was, the idiot in me would post all that on social media. It's on Facebook. It's still there. That's where I'm going to retrieve all my photos to make it real. Because, all those pictures are still there. But I don't delete it because it's part of my story. People need to see where I've come, you know what I mean? It's just, I was a hot mess from 2011 until I got pregnant in 2016 when I was forced to stop drinking. But guess what I did? Still didn't stop going to the bars. Because that was my social scene. I should say until I got too far along. But I went out, no joke. People literally thought I had probably lost my mind, which I did. Hot mess. Because there is a video on social media, and I still have it on my phone, I'm sure, of me dancing to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. Well, I'm dancing in the bar, making my belly go bye bye bye. I have a belly. I'm full on pregnant. And when my friends are doing shots, I have a shot of water so I don't feel left out. No joke. This was old Laura. I'm so glad I'm not part of that life anymore. So glad. So depressing. I'm not friends with any of those people anymore except baby dad. We're kind of forced to be friends at this point, but no, we like each other now. We do. There was a time where we were not getting along. For many years, actually. But we're in a good place now. His family is my family. And great co-parenting, and he is extremely present in my son's life, and my son adores him. And I don't want to say his name. My son gets country life. My son, I live in a suburban neighborhood, but when he was a baby, toddler, I lived in downtown of a metro city. So I've gotten it all. I've had the downtown loft of my hometown. I had a house. My first house was in downtown metro city. Then now I'm in a suburban neighborhood. My son has had all the experiences of life and living, and his father lives in the country, so he gets the country life. My son gravitates towards that life. But yeah, so we're in a great place now. But just don't forget, I might have sounded like a good time. I might have sounded fun. But it was all rooted in depression and the spirit of suicide. I was basically killing myself with alcohol. I truly believe that God saved me. And this is what I tell everybody. My son saved me from myself. It was God. I got pregnant with my son for a reason, and he's got a calling on his life. I know it. I've been professing it over him since day one. He is destined for greatness. He's going to do something huge in the name of God. in the name of Christ, Jesus Christ. There was a reason I was to get pregnant with my little man. And he also saved me because I never looked back from that life ever again. Never looked back. Never have lived. I don't even think I've ever stepped foot in any of those places ever since. And it's been 8 years. You know, I want to say I have drank. I don't want to tell you that I just quit drinking cold turkey. No, family events, weddings, special occasions, even after my son, I would still drink and occasionally get drunk. I know that that's not biblical, but I did. But I never lived that old lifestyle again. That was done. That was old, Lord. That was a chapter, a 6-year chapter. But yeah, I just hope this resonates with you, you know, whether, because I'm trying to paint a picture of you, of me, of the Laura that led up to the Laura that I am now. Experience is the best teacher. I love that quote. Experience is the best teacher. So, well, thank you all for tuning in. God bless you, and I'll see you again in the next one.